This is going to be the most magical episode yet. This game was released on so many platforms, all with their own different versions. So to prevent any real confusion here, I'll be talking about the PC version today. This is the Retro Cave and welcome to In Retrospect. So let's not waste any time. The story of this game isn't something you need me to explain. It's the first Harry Potter, that's it. The story isn't that important anyway. The game is mostly about learning new spells, using those new spells, learning more new spells and going on some mission that requires you to combine the spells you know. Like going to get fire seeds for Hagrid. Talking about which, what happened to you Hagrid? You look horrible! Yeah, this game doesn't look great. As a matter of fact, I think it may be one of the worst looking 3D games out there. Granted, this was early on, when 3D was still a new concept and the PlayStation wasn't particularly powerful, but this is something else entirely. Back on topic though, the quest for the fire seeds wasn't in the movie or even the books at all, but makes sense within the game. Of course, the story holds up, just a little more rushed to make room for gameplay. Which is mostly a good thing if it wasn't for the fact that the gameplay, while not as offensive as the graphics, still isn't that great. The walking controls are stiff and awkward to the point where the flying controls actually work better than walking. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And the worst part is, you can't walk while aiming spells. This interrupts the whole flow of the game. I suppose it makes the game slightly longer, since you have to walk, then aim and cast a spell before starting to walk again, but generally it's just a pain to deal with. While using the spells might have some problems though, I do enjoy the way you learn them. Every spell has a symbol associated with it which appears when you aim your wand at an object you could use the spell on. To learn any spell you need to draw the symbol on screen for a number of times with increasing accuracy. It really makes you feel like you're learning the wand movement that goes with any particular spell, and makes them stand out from each other. Another part of this is the fact that spells actually do something distinctly different. A spell like Flipendo pushes things around, while Wingardium Leviosa lets you move things through the air. This could have been just an upgrade to the Flipendo spell, but the mechanics work differently, aside from the fact that you can only cast either spell on blocks specifically designed for them. Flipendo lets you push these blocks in a grid-based way, where a single cast will push you to any direction, one space. Wingardium Leviosa, on the other hand, lets you move one block freely through the air, within a radius around yourself. This is just a single example of how well crafted the magic and puzzle systems in this game are, and while the game in general might be rather easy, there's lots of secrets to explore with all these spells. Hogwarts has always been portrayed as this magical place with another secret or mystery around every corner, and this game delivers on that idea. This is really one of the early open world games that gets it right. Even the music you hear while walking around Hogwarts just fits the atmosphere. It's way different from the movie soundtrack. But even so, it's not worse by any means. Of course, the sound quality isn't as good as a high production value movie, but the general vibes and feelings the music creates really do fit Hogwarts. I still prefer the movie soundtrack though, but hey, this doesn't sound that bad either. Which brings us to the most inconsistent part of the game, the boss fights. Some of these hardly are fights, like Fluffy, which is a neat idea but executed rather poorly. And the Devil's Snares you fight right after that, which is just spamming the same spell over and over again. But then there's also fights like the fight against the troll, where you need to protect Ron from random debris while he tries to knock out the troll. It's hardly even a fight, but it changes up the gameplay in a way which is creative and refreshing. And suddenly Flipendo also breaks things instead of just pushing them. But hey, that's just details. Am I right? And the fight with Quirrell before the actual final boss against Voldemort is great too. You need to push some blocks so you can build a way to climb up to him, but while you do that, he is using Flipendo to push the box back, trying to prevent you from even getting to him, which sounds boring, but it's actually a little difficult since he's also firing green spells at you, which by all accounts should be the killing curse. These spells damage you, but also mean that he's not firing Flipendo, giving you a window to push blocks closer to him. And then there's the added layer of battling against a professor who taught you this very spell. The very first spell you learned, in fact. That doesn't make a mechanical difference, of course, but I think thematically it's a nice touch. But then the actual final boss is boring as hell. First you need to drop some pillars on Voldemort's hat. The most powerful dark wizard of all time, defeated by some rocks falling on him. Sure. And then you use the Mirror of Erised to reflect his own spells back at him. It only works from one side though, so you need to turn the mirror using Flipendo. Again, the very first spell you learned in the game. And for some reason, you can now move while aiming a spell. I suppose otherwise this fight would have just been too difficult, but it would have been nice if you could have made this possible to do throughout the whole game. And make some animations to go with it too. So in retrospect, this game, it's just not very good. It certainly has some highlights, but it's all based on a design foundation with a lot of weird choices and, frankly, distractingly bad looks. And while this video is supposed to be about the PC version of the game, I want to mention not all the versions of this game are bad. If you want to play Harry's first year at Hogwarts and actually, have fun doing it, I would recommend picking up the PlayStation 2 version of this game, which is actually pretty good. Until the next time though, bye.